You're watching KTVA, the award-winning Alaska's 11 News at 6. And now, Alaska's new choice for news.
Rising waters in the Matanuska River have Valley residents prepared to move to higher ground. Good evening. Welcome to Alaska's 11 News at 6. I'm Kirk Chason. Heather Johnson has the night off. People in the Mat-Su Valley are keeping a close eye on the rising Matanuska River. The raging river is eating away at a crucial man-made dike near Maud Road, and the weather forecast is not looking good. 11 News reporter Steve Roldan is following the story. And Steve, officials there are crossing their fingers tonight.
They sure are, Kirk. The weather forecast is calling for additional rainfall in that area over the next 48 hours, with much of it expected to fall over the next 48 hours. Now, officials with the National Weather Service say the river is high at this point from snow and glacial melt and expected to run even higher with additional rainfall this weekend. Now, of particular concern is that dike near Maud Road along the Matanuska.
We're keeping an eye on it right now, and there's a river statement out just notifying the residents, start giving them a heads up that the river levels are high and are at a concern right now. But we might be posting a flood watch later in the day.
Now, Weather Service officials say they can't determine when or how much the river will rise at this point until they know how much falls in the higher elevations. Presently, the river is just below flood stage at this point.
That was Steve Roldan reporting there. The Weather Service says the rivers could reach flood stage tomorrow or Monday. Well, 46 days and counting until the beginning of the school year. It may seem hard to believe, but it's not long enough if you ask some school administrators. They're in a crunch to hire enough bus drivers for the upcoming year. 11 News reporter James Steiner is live in our studio. And James, how many do they need?
Well, Kirk, right now they estimate about 30 drivers to avoid any kind of shortage come August 30th, the first day kids return back to school. They're hoping posting signs around town will help them bring in enough qualified people. Training for school bus drivers starts August 14th for the Anchorage School District. Administrators started putting up signs this week. Bus company managers say it's too early to tell if there's going to be a shortage of drivers.
We have experienced shortages. With today's economy the way it is, it's more difficult for us to find the qualified people we're looking for. You know, the pool, the resource out there, the labor force out there is just so small right now.
Well, it's an extensive process. We have to screen the applicants, interview the applicants. They undergo an extensive background check.
School officials say they should have a better idea exactly how many drivers they're going to need by the end of the month. But the list is not filling up quick. That's why they're depending on television ads and signs to get their message across.
Well, thank you, James. If you do get hired, there's some extensive training you'll have to go through before you can become a licensed school bus driver. Training classes start August 14th. There are 20 hours in the classroom and 20 hours behind the wheel before you'll be eligible for a school bus driver's license. That's a state law. Also, there are some district-wide procedures you'll have to learn. Beginning salary for a school bus driver is $11.30 an hour. So what does it take to be a school bus driver? Some say not everyone can do the job. Bus drivers say you have to enjoy working around children and have, of course, a great deal of patience. You definitely have to be safety conscious and know your way around a 40-foot bus. They say you have to be able to react to any situation.
And if the kids are screaming in the background, the driver's attention is not on the road, because that's where the danger is on the road. Basically, you're the only professional driver on the road, and you need to let the kids know that they have to help you.
Drivers say it's important to teach kids that the bus is not a playground, it's an extension of the classroom. Well, the wreckage remains on the site of Wednesday's train derailment near Wasilla. The accident spilled about 100 gallons of unleaded gasoline into a small wetlands area near the Palmer Hayflats Wildlife Refuge. It's the third derailment for the railroad in less than a year. Now 2 task forces, one appointed by the governor and another appointed by the legislature, are looking into ways to improve railroad safety.
We talk about prevention measures in terms of technology. Are there technology improvements that can be made in the facility itself? In this case, the railroad tracks, the trains, and how they're operated to improve safety.
Environmental officials think the spill was confined to just a small area, and they do not think it spread to a nearby salmon stream. Well, the governor's task force will come up with recommendations to improve railroad safety within 90 days. The legislature task force is expected to present a report to state lawmakers in December. A railroad spokesman says investigators from a private company out of Atlanta, Georgia, should know what caused the crash in about a week. Well, San Francisco-based Wells Fargo has completed its $1.1 billion purchase of National Bank of Alaska. The deal was officially wrapped up yesterday. NBA is Alaska's largest and oldest bank. It's expected to operate under its own name as a Wells Fargo company until about May of next year. At that point, the NBA name and computers will change over to Wells Fargo. Well, the Prince of Wales Island city of Craig might be getting a $10 million federal handout. Alaska Senator Ted Stevens has proposed an amendment to a spending bill for the Interior Department and the Forest Service that would provide Craig with the money. Governor Tony Knowles expects a decision from his Disaster Policy Council by Monday on whether to declare a disaster for the Western Alaska salmon fishery. This year is by far the worst ever for commercial king salmon fishermen on the Yukon River. Fishing disasters were declared in Western Alaska in both of the last 2 years. Well, Senator Frank Murkowski has cut a deal on Capitol Hill that could mean big money for conservation in Alaska. The Conservation and Reinvestment Act, which had been stalled in the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee for 3 months, will come up before the committee again on Tuesday. The bill redirects $3 billion a year from federal offshore development into a number of new programs for states, parks, and wildlife. Murkowski says Alaska would get about $164 million a year under his version. He says it would be the most significant commitment of resources to conservation that's ever come out of the committee. Well, people were stopping traffic in Midtown this afternoon, but it was all for a good cause. Volunteers with the St. Francis House in Anchorage were collecting donations. It was all part of the home's second annual Cash and Cans Drive. Organizers are hoping to fill their truck with food donations and raise $10,000. The St. Francis House provides emergency assistance to people in need, and they mostly rely on donations. If you'd like to make a donation, you can call Catholic Social Services at 277-2554. A lot of clouds in Anchorage today, but no rainfall. Meteorologist Amy Rzuski joins us now with our first look at the forecast. Amy?
Actually, you might want to amend that, Kirk. We are starting to see the rain showers fall in the Anchorage Bowl. Right now, it is 57 degrees with light rain reported. Winds out of the south-southeast to 16 miles an hour, 82% relative humidity, and the pressure still holding steady at 30.12 inches of mercury. Around the rest of the city, temperatures for the most part into the low 60s, a little bit warmer in Muldoon. And of course, at the higher elevations, temperatures are a bit cooler also in Girdwood. Temperature there only 56 degrees. Here's a quick look at our satellite shot, and this is our rainmaker, a storm system that's heading into our area, and it doesn't look like it's going to be out of our way anytime soon. I'll have all the details on what you can expect for the rest of your weekend coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks, Amy. Hundreds of Alaskans put on their running shoes and took to the streets of downtown Anchorage today in the fight against cancer. It was all part of the 5th annual Run for Men's Cancer Research. The 5-mile run and walk started and finished at 8th and H Streets. The event was held to raise awareness and funds for prostate and testicular cancer research.
I always run in this race, and it's for a great cause. It really is. If you can help one human being on this earth, you've done a miracle.
I've got 2 family members that died from prostate cancer. My uncle Al Fry and my father-in-law Neil Mann, and it's in memory of them.
Organizers of the run say prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in men. Natural disasters are causing heartache in different parts of the world tonight. Coming up, we'll take you to Japan, where a volcano's eruption caused a powerful earthquake. But first, a devastating tornado rips through a trailer park in Canada. That story when Alaska's 11 News at 6 comes right back. In just 29 minutes, a tornado tore through a trailer park in Alberta, Canada, killing at least 9 people and injuring 130. This story tops tonight's Eye on the World. The tornado happened last night without any advanced warning. Rescuers are using dogs, divers, bulldozers, and chainsaws to dig through the rubble in hopes of finding survivors that might be trapped in mangled trailers and a lake. 400 people were forced to spend the night in temporary shelters. The storm was the worst in Alberta since a 1987 tornado in Edmonton that killed 27 people and injured 300. And for the 5th time this week, a volcano on a Japanese island erupted, spewing up ash and forcing the evacuation of more than 100 residents. The volcano's eruption caused a magnitude 6.2 earthquake early this morning, knocking down the walls of several homes and causing power cuts. No injuries have been reported. And more than 2,500 students and activists rallied in front of the main U.S. military base in South Korea today. They are protesting the dumping of a toxic chemical by the American military in February. The protest came just a day after the U.S. military command admitted dumping 20 gallons of formaldehyde into the base's sewage system, which discharges into Seoul's Han River. And security cameras captured 2 presumed members of the Basque separatist group ETA as they set up a car bomb in the middle of Madrid. The bomb, which exploded at dawn, injured 3 people and caused heavy damage to nearby businesses. Spanish police released the footage in hopes that it will help them track down the suspects. Well, a cloudy, chilly day in south central Alaska today. Let's take a look through our live eye over Anchorage. Meteorologist Amy Rzuski has your evening forecast next on Alaska's 11 News at 6. Tens of thousands of Russians took part in one of their favorite summer events today, the Moscow Beer Festival. The weather was hot, and there were a variety of beers for people to quench their thirsts with. Although Russia's drink of choice is unquestionably vodka, many seem to be enjoying the brewskis. Maybe a little too gloomy for a beer festival here in Anchorage today. Meteorologist Amy Rzuski joins us now with a look at our extended weather forecast. Again, right?
Well, hopefully. I mean, we're not completely over with the summer, but rain season's just beginning.
Oh, well. Thanks,
Sorry.
Amy. Well, Anchorage's own television celebrities were getting down and dirty in South Anchorage today. It was all part of the Red Cross Celebrity Car Wash Classic in the parking lot of Sam's Food. And you can see her there. 11 News' own Tracy Davis was among those helping to raise money for the organization.
With the recent fires, of course, our emergency funds got a little bit dwindled, and we've been really fortunate to have different groups all over town working together to help us so we can respond to future emergencies.
The Red Cross is in need of volunteers. If you are interested in helping out, call 277. You see the number there, 277-1538. Well, coming up on Big Board Sports, another brawl at the ballpark this afternoon. The Rockies and the Reds meet at the mound. Chaz St. George has it covered next in Big Board Sports.
Minutes and 5 seconds. And boy, I tell you what, there's all kinds of neat things happening in sports, and we'll have some more for you tonight at 10. Hopefully, no more brawls.
Sounds great. That Stanley Cup looks like it's in pretty good shape for something that's been kicked into a canal.
Yeah, it does.
Thanks, Chaz. Finally, tonight, 2 rare Bengal tiger cubs were born in a zoo outside Havana, Cuba. The cubs are named Rafaela and Marietta after 2 Brazilian soap opera characters. Officials are hoping the new arrivals will grow to replenish the zoo's stock of tigers after several cubs born in the last few years failed to survive. The cubs were separated from their mother at birth, and they're now being cared for by zoo staff who feed them every 2 hours with milk and a daily dose of vitamins and antibiotics. Well, that wraps up this edition of Alaska's 11 News at 6. We'll see you again right here at 10. Good night.